Welcome to Ole Walls House. It's me. It's your man. It's your main man. It's Ole Walls. I'm back with you for episode 124. Episode 124 of Ole Walls House is coming your way. So, just want to start off by saying thank you to everybody. I appreciate all your help. I appreciate all the support. So just, again, I want to say thank you so much. So thank you. I appreciate the watches. I appreciate the listens. I appreciate producer Kevy for helping us get the video portion of this thing off the ground. So many thanks to him. Many thanks to all of you. As always, if you could, please rate, review, comment, subscribe, and share. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Pods are the best places to find the podcast. So please go check them out. As always, if you're looking for 20% off Liquid IV, get it while the promo code lasts. The promo code is OWH. That gets you 20% off Liquid IV. You can go to liquidiv.com or go to the link in the show notes below. That link, again, 20% off Liquid IV at liquidiv.com or the link in the show notes below. Promo code OWH. O for Ole, W for Walls, H for House. Convenient packaging, all the different flavors. More hydration than water alone. More electrolytes than your leading sports drinks. Equitable access to water worldwide. All good stuff. Non-GMO, vegan, non-dairy, all that. So, got a fun show coming. We're talking some PGA Championships. We got to recap the Xander Usyk and Tyson Fury fight. I've got some travel troubles to get through. We got to catch up with the Guardians. So a lot of stuff out ahead of us. So without any further ado, let's get diving into it. To the PGA Championship, where your winner with a birdie on the 18th hole as he outlasts Victor Hovland and BBB, Triple B, Big Boy Bryson, not Brooks, don't do that. Big Boy Bryson DeChambeau, Xander Schauffle holds on and wins, outlasts a pretty bunched leaderboard to start the day. He goes 62, 68, 68, and a Sunday 65 to get it done. Right after I had just completely bludgeoned him last week, saying he's not a winner, he doesn't get it done when it matters. He comes right back and shoves it right down my throat and makes me eat a lot of crow. Xander Schauffle is your newest major winner with a pretty good performance this week. A wild week in Louisville. Louisville. I still say Louisville. I know it's not right. I know it's like Louisville or something closer to that, but it was a wild week down there. And Xander got a start. He shot 62. That got him to the lead after Thursday, and he'd hold at least a share of that lead at the end of every day, and then obviously at the end of the most important day, Sunday. Thursday was a good good start to the golf tournament, and things really got going on Friday. I get up Friday morning. I am getting ready to head over to some physical therapy, and I just start seeing a tweet that, Scotty Scheffler has been detained. Jeff Darlington puts out this tweet, and, there'd been a fatality that had totally messed up the traffic pattern. Thoughts out to that man's family. But the things I'm not qualified to talk about, but the things I'm going to talk about here is the Scotty Scheffler portion. So there's a huge backup. It's dark. Scotty Scheffler's trying to get into the course for his practice round. Ends up, coming over a curb, some say, taking a different lane to go into the course like they kind of had. And as it had been reported, some other golfers had a police officer in one of the yellow coats, one of the high-vis coats, stops him. There's maybe a misunderstanding whether or not he's a police officer or not. There were reports that Scotty called some people over after he had been arrested and put in the back of a cop car in cuffs and said, "Hey, sorry, I didn't know you're a police officer." Jeff Darlington says the police officer attached himself to Scotty Scheffler's car as Scotty drove 10 to 20 yards before stopping and then being removed from the vehicle. He is booked into the Louisville Department of Corrections, and what I immediately think is a fake photo pops up where he is in an orange jumpsuit with the picture. He's charged with 4 crimes, including a felony, which was second-degree assault of a police officer, not listening to a police officer's directions, reckless driving, and something else. just an absolutely wild day, is put into the holding cell, tells us afterwards he began his stretching warm-up in the holding cell when he realized that play had been delayed and he might actually make his tee time. One of the owners of Valhalla goes and picks him up from the Louisville Department of the Corrections, the prison, whatever, brings him back. He gets there with 45 minutes before his tee time, comes out, makes an opening birdie on the first hole, and goes on to fire a 5-under 66 straight out of the clink. Just unreal. Twitter was ablaze, X rather, whatever the fuck we're calling it, was ablaze with this wild story that had been out there. Scotty Scheffler arrested. Like, there's no, if you could pick one guy on the PGA Tour that you think could get arrested, I mean, you could name off a bunch of guys, and Scotty Scheffler would maybe be the last on that list. Just an absolutely wild, wild day. Also, just to add to the bonkersness, Scotty's caddy wasn't going to be there on Saturday. Ted Scott, his caddy, was going back for, I believe, a child's graduation. So he was missing Saturday and then going to come back Sunday. Scotty plays Saturday with the PGA Tour's traveling chaplain as his caddy. Just unreal. Unreal, crazy weekend from Scotty, who doesn't get it done due to a Saturday round that was very, very not good. But still, I think managed out a top 10 nonetheless. So elsewhere on Friday, kind of something to pay attention to here is John Rahm, who made just some odd comments at the start of the week about how I'm still a PGA Tour member even though I'm suspended. I'm not on the other side. It was just weird, and it just made it feel like a guy who wasn't thrilled with the decision he's made for himself. I don't know, man. If you take the bag, you're on the other side. That's what the bag's for, is that you are on the other side and you're not really a PGA Tour member. His whole approach to this thing has been very odd since he went there. He ends up missing the cut, is where I'm going with all this. And outside of the last 6 holes on Thursday, where he made 4 birdies, he played very poorly. Misses the cut, and just not a good day for him, or weekend for him. Yeah, Scotty Scheffler does end up finishing T8. So some three guys that we had kind of thought were going to play well here, that just one bad round took him out of it with just the way this golf tournament shaped up, that you had to kind of put your pedal to the metal and really go with it. Brooks Koepka and Scotty Scheffler have bad Saturdays, both shoot over par. Rory McIlroy has a pretty bad Friday, shoots even par, and that really takes them all out of it. In this kind of birdie fest of a PGA Championship. We'll get to the discussion on the golf course and this tournament at large, but that's just kind of how it was. Elsewhere on Saturday, not struggling was Shane Lowry, who goes out in 29, I believe, ends up actually having a putt for 61 on the last hole to set the all-time major scoring record. There's been a bunch of 62s lately. 61 would have put him out alone, and alas, it was not to be. Seeing Shane Lowry, I do have to wonder how he's so fat. I mean, as a PGA Tour player, you're walking, if you're playing 20-25 events a year, you're walking 4 to 6 miles Thursday through Sunday. You're playing probably 9 holes on Tuesday, Wednesday for a practice round at least. Your weekly mileage, you're walking 30 miles, not to mention all the time you're just on your feet in the heat, in stressful conditions, so like your body's working over. How are you fat? Like, I can understand being a little chunky. I'm not one to question anything. I got a little extra on the belly here, but like Shane Lowry is a big boy. I don't get it. I don't know how that happens. One last Saturday thing. Justin Thomas had a sick hole out on a par 3. The hometown crowd loved it. He ended up having a pretty good week. He finishes, where'd he go? T13? T8. He finished T8, tied with Scotty Scheffler, T8, and Billy Horschel and Big Bob McIntyre made an eagle on his last hole to finally shoot under par. Justin Thomas, 13 under for the week, a good showing, a lot of adoration from the hometown fans, and that'll bring us over to Sunday, where we were set up with a good leaderboard. I mean, the guys at the top of the leaderboard heading into Sunday. I mean, you had Xander Schauffle, you had Bryson DeChambeau, Victor Hovland kind of coming back out of his little recent downtrend. Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry. Scotty was a little far back. Justin Thomas was a little back. Rory was a little back, but Sahith Theegala was right there. Did not go well for Sahith coming down the stretch. Harris English was hanging around. Tony Finau hanging around. There were a lot of people who were out there that could have done something. And it was fun, man. Like, I'm going to continue to say this. This was a fun tournament. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how Valhalla played. Early Sunday, you had, is it Alexander Toasty? How did I forget his name? It's Toasty is his last name. What is his first name? Alejandro Toasty, who on the 13th hole, the one with the crazy hole with the dog leg kind of left, island green, bunkers out in the rough. My man just said, fuck it. He was at the bottom of the leaderboard. He said, we're taking out the D stick and we're taking it right at the green. And he just absolutely nuts one. Brings it in so high. The greens were so soft from all the rain. And just drops one right in there by the pin. Just beautiful. Beautiful shot. Driver, putt, eagle. And he lights it up. I think that was about his only highlight for the week. Beyond making the cut, which is something to be said. So we mentioned, a couple people here, and I don't know if I mentioned this guy because he kind of fell down the board. Colin Morikawa didn't have it on Sunday. He only made one birdie. It was on the 18th. He was way out of play. Shoots an even par round. Just was stuck in the mud, could never get anything going, and it was icky, yucky. Just, it was bad. It was not good. And it's kind of the second time in a row he's done something like that. And it wasn't great. It was not great. Who did not get stuck in the mud early was Xander Schauffle. He goes out in 4 under. Everything is looking good. I think he had a 2-shot lead with 12 holes to go. It's looking like he's going to do the damn thing. And then he makes a bogey on the par 5 10th. And now it feels like it's on because Bryson DeChambeau has made the turn at 3 under. He's birdied 10. He threw another birdie in on 13. Like he's right there. Victor Hovland has chased him. He had birdied 5, 6, and 7. He birdies 10, 12, 13 as well. So I mean, it's going. And those 3 have really kind of separated themselves from the pack. And now all of a sudden, Xander's dropped the shot. I think he got tied with the lead at that point. But in the way, and I said, and the roommate was giving me shit. She's like, I knew I should have picked him because you were just trashing him this week. And I always know if I just pick the guys you talk shit on, it'll go really good. I was like, shut up. And then sure as shit, he misses like a par putt on 10. I was like, oh, you want to keep talking shit, honey? And that's where he melts every other time. And this time he didn't. He came back and absolutely stuffed it on 11 and 12. On 11, he hit it to 8 feet. And then on 12, he hit it to 6 feet from 205. Like, just absolutely came back, did what he had to do, and stuffed it. And, that was the point in the round where he really saved it. Bryson was electric out there. I don't know if Bryson being on Live and then just coming back at the majors is like the perfect amount of Bryson, but I also picked Bryson this week, so full disclosure there. But I found myself rooting for Bryson, like a guy I generally don't like. I found myself rooting for him. Like I said, he makes the birdie on 13, then he birdies 16, and then absolutely fucking nukes a driver on 17. 196 mile an hour ball speed. That ball went 350 yards. I believe that is uphill. He only had 124 yards left to the hole. If he had one shot back, I would almost guarantee you it was that wedge that he only hit the 25 feet there. He is unable to make birdie on 17 that could have really, really, really put some extra pressure on. On the same hole, Victor Hovland also does not make birdie there. He had hit it to 9 feet, 8 inches, so just inside 10 feet, is unable to make the putt. That would have put him in at 20 under at that point too. So he remains at 19 under. We go down 18 though. Bryson is not able to get one home because he hits it in the bunker. but he gets one up there, and he just absolutely drips one. The last revolution falls in to tie Xander at 20 under on 18 on his final hole. He's immediately out to the range and just hammer fucking golf balls, just launching them. I think there was a 3-wood at one point. There was definitely a driver. It was incredible. He's out in the range just swinging his ass off. So then Xander gets it up and down on 17, if I'm remembering correctly. Gets up and down on 17. Leaves himself a really, really tough second shot coming into 18. Feet down in the bunker, ball above him. He gets it up in a great spot just left of the green. Gets it up. Leaves himself, I think, about 6 feet on 18. Let me double check what the shot tracker says here. Hold on. Don't leave me. Yep, 6 feet, 2 inches is what he had to win the golf tournament. The guy I said was not a winner and could not get it done on the biggest stage lips it in. That ball, you knew it was his day to win the golf tournament because if it wasn't, that ball wasn't going in. And just a gutsy finish. This wasn't a hold on for dear life coming down the stretch kind of major. This was you got to keep your foot on the pedal. You got to keep making birdies. And he did it. He makes me eat crow. He gets his first major win. And, the big question is, what does this mean for Xander going forward? Is this going to really open him up? Xander was a guy who, for a while, didn't have a full field 72-hole PGA Tour win. I remember I was talking about that previously. So, in a long time. He had won the Greenbrier in 2017. That should have been a full field. But then Tour Championship wasn't full field in 17. WGC in 2018 wasn't. Century wasn't. Zurich wasn't. So then he finally won the Travelers in June of 2022. That was his first full field win since the Greenbrier in 2017. He won the Scottish Open just a month later. And now 2 years since his last win, just about, he wins his first major, the PGA Championship. And, does this open the floodgates for him? Are there more out there? You have to imagine that Pinehurst sets up well for him. He'd been hitting the ball further this year. His ball speed is up. His swing speed is up. He's a phenomenal putter. Things kind of look like they're laying out very good for him. Like I said, Bryson 4 times a year. Do we miss him more that we don't see him? Would we get kind of, is less of Bryson more? Like, does his shtick work a little bit better when we only see him 4 times? Talked about Morikawa a little bit. Like, what's up with him? A little weird there. John Rahm is a big question mark coming out of this. Brooks Koepka outside of one day played pretty well. Did lose some strokes putting. Will be interesting to see how he comes back at the U.S. Open. Is Victor Hovland back? This is the guy who has really struggled this year. After looking like at the end of last year, he was maybe the best golfer on the planet. Is reuniting with his swing coach gonna be kind of the key to getting that spark back. So all good things to ponder. All good things to ponder. One other note here. Since 2023, so since Liv has been fully a thing, since 2023, right? Or 2022, when they come in? It started in June. I think it started in June of 2022. Yeah, June 9th of 2022. So I believe the U.S. Open in 2022 was the first event held post-Liv. Matt Fitzpatrick won that, PGA Tour player. So then we go to the Open Championship. At the time, Cameron Smith is a PGA Tour player. He had yet to jump over. He wins. So then we circle around to the Masters. You have 2023. That is John Rahm, who, again, at the time, PGA Tour player. Now we're back to the PGA, where Brooks Koepka wins the sole major for a current Liv player when he wins the PGA. Later that year in 2023, we have Wyndham Clark hold off Rory McIlroy at LACC. And then Brian Harmon's wins last year's Open Championship. We swing back to the Masters this year, Scottie Scheffler, of course, and now the PGA, Xander Schauffle. So at the time of the playing of the event, 7 of the 8 major championships have been won by PGA Tour players, which is just an interesting thing to consider as you see guys like Dustin Johnson, who has fallen off a cliff since he went to live. A lot of their guys were older, the Sergios, the Graham McDowells, the Poulters, the Phils, all of them. John Rahm, his first 2 performances as a live player in majors have been very, very poor. That's not to say that John Rahm can't come out and win the U.S. Open. I wouldn't be shocked one bit. Brooks Koepka is a guy who kind of always dials it up for the bigger events. And again, outside of a poor round, he was right there in it this week. Bad showing by him at the Masters, but hey, one bad event can happen. But just an interesting note that all has been said. There's a couple of things I also wanted to get to here with Valhalla, and this leads into the larger discussion of the PGA Championship. But Valhalla was getting a lot of shit, like from like the golf Twitter sphere, the golf podcast industry, a group I listen to regularly and regularly parrot some of their thoughts and opinions is no laying up, and I disagree with them vehemently. They're golf course snobs, and I don't get the golf course snobbery. I just don't get it. Like, what's the point? Like, what do you want more from a tournament than to have a bunch of people in it, have it be exciting? There's going to be different types of events, and not every event is going to be a grinded out for par. Like, every shot's going to be super penalized. Like, there's just not that many golf courses out there. And also, these guys are so good. They're so good. Technology is so good. And if you want to make the technology argument, you can get there. But, like, these guys are so good. This course was fucking soaked. It was pouring, I guess, in the 2 weeks leading up to this tournament. It rained during the practice week, during the practice rounds. It rained during a day of the event. Like, when courses get soft, these guys are going to shred it. When you can hit shots where they stop, where they land, these guys are that good. Like, the idea is to, always get the course to be fast and firm. Like, Saturday at the Masters was some of the most fun golf I've watched in a long time. It was fast. It was firm. If you weren't very precise. But, like, that's just we play a game. Golf is a game that's played outside, and it rains outside. It's just going to happen. And unless you're going to fuck with the course and do crazy shit and, be like Shinnecock on that one Saturday, or those couple Saturdays, like, it's hard to slow these guys down. Again, especially if the course gets wet. Then this wasn't going to be an event where, like, 4 or 5 under was going to win anyway. This was going to be an event where probably like 12 to 15 was going to win before it got wet. But once it got wet, that was just all it is. I don't care about, like, the golf course architecture snobbery. Like, the golf course architecture snobbery was at LACC last year too. Like, everybody loved that place. 10 under won a U.S. Open. I'm just not into it. 7 and 13 at Valhalla are sick. 7 with the double fairway action. I love it. 18's a cool finishing hole. And Valhalla produces awesome events with good winners. Like, look back at who has won there. Mark Brooks aside. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffle, who time will tell if he'll stack up more majors, but at the time of this playing, like, he is one of the top 5 players on the PGA Tour. Worst case scenario. Also, just a random thought, because I do miss the PGA in August, and I know by being in August, it kind of limits where they can go. You pretty much can't go south. There's a lot of thunderstorms. It's super hot, but there is something to that late end of summer, glory's last shot. And again, it's just kind of the way I was raised. Would it be possible to flip-flop the PGA between May and August? So then you could have, like, different courses you could utilize based on location and time of the year. And then flip-flop the players between March and May. Because I know there's been a lot of people who said the May players was better based on they could get that course firmer. But just tossing it out there. And now, the PGA, which is kind of viewed as the 4th major, and by a lot. people would say the Masters, the U.S. Open, the British Open are in a different league than the PGA. So I thought about this. And I thought back on what we've seen from the PGA and the other majors throughout the year. The last 5 years, give or take. And I just looked back at the last 5 years, and I tried to remember, as well as just looking at straight margin of victory, as well as if there was anything else that was really, really entertaining about it. So let's start with the Masters. The Masters this year was a 4-stroke lead. It was great on Saturday, but Sunday's what everybody remembers. It was good on Sunday up until like 11 or 12. There was no late drama. So it was good, didn't give us anything crazy. Jon Rahm last year kind of wins going away. Again, it's kind of similar thing. It was fun, but by the back nine on Sunday, it started to really clear out. I mean, Rahm had a 5-shot lead by the 14th hole. He was up 2 making the turn, had pushed that to 3 by the 12th. So that was what it was. Scotty Scheffler in 2022 was kind of out ahead of it. Hideki Matsuyama was the only Masters in the last 5 years that had been under a 3-stroke win, but he had led by as many as 5 on Sunday on the back nine, I believe. I remember not even watching the end of it, as crazy as that sounds. I just went out and started doing things outside and playing with the dog, because I was like, this is over. And the lead got tightened real late. And then Dustin Johnson wins the November Masters. If you want to throw that out, you could add the Tiger one in, but that's 2019. I was trying to get 5. The U.S. Open. We had a really good one last year. We had a really good one in 2022 with Matt Fitzpatrick at the Country Club. There was a good one with Jon Rahm winning at Torrey Pines. Louis Oosthuizen, famously, I believe, if I can remember, laying up on 18 because his lie was so bad. But then in 2020, we had Bryson run away with it, wins by 6 strokes at Winged Foot. That did have some interest just because of what Bryson was doing that year. And then 2019, Gary Woodland wins. That was another one where I believe Brooks Koepka was kind of coming early, and then it just got out of hand by the back nine. Let me find out here. Yeah, Koepka had got to within 2 on the front nine. And I believe Justin Rose was tied to start the day, but by the 6th hole, he was already back 2. And the closest anyone got was Rose 2 back throughout much of the day. And then he kind of peeled off. By 14, it was back to Koepka at 10 under, and Gary Woodland just kind of held on coming in. I remember not being that one starting out with a lot of gusto, but not getting there. The British Open. So in the last 5 years, we have Brian Harman win by 6 strokes. Cam Smith won a very, very, very fun one in 2022. Colin Morikawa wins by 2 strokes over Jordan Spieth. I don't remember that one at all, so I'm going to look that one up right now and just look at the leaderboard as the play-by-play here. I have no recollection of this at all. Morikawa didn't start the day in the lead, but by the 7th hole, he had taken the lead and was up by 2, and then kind of cruised in from there. Spieth closed it to 2 again on 14, but then never got it any closer. He had it at 2 on 13 as well. So there was a little intrigue very, very late in that round. But I have zero recollection of that one. Shane Lowry wins by 6 strokes in 2019. And then if you go way back to 2018, which would be farther back than we go for anything else, that year was Francesco Molinari winning by 2. There were a lot of guys involved. 4 guys finished in second, including Xander that year. Again, this is going back a little farther than I had with everything else. There were a lot of people involved in that. Eddie Pepperell famously, I think, said he was a little drunk the night before. That was probably the best one because on the 14th hole that year, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys within 2 shots. But again, that's 2018, so that's back kind of outside of the range I've gone here. So now we go to the PGA, the one where everyone kind of shits on. In the past 5 years, going back to 2020, there has not, even if you want to go back to 2019, still nothing more than 2 strokes. There hasn't been a winner by more than 2 strokes at a PGA since Jason Day in 2015. And other than that, it's been since if you just keep going all the way back, if you go back to 2010, there's only been a winner by more than 2 strokes twice. That is Rory McIlroy when he won by 8 at Kiowa, and Jason Day when he won by 3 at Whistling Straits. There have been 3 playoffs in that time frame as well. So, again, just like the last 5 tournaments, we had a good one this weekend with Bryson. We had Brooks Koepka win by 2 shots, which is probably the least interesting of these tournaments. We had Justin Thomas in the playoff at Southern Hills with Mito's mistake. One of the other 2-strokers, Phil Mickelson winning in 2021 was mesmerizing. I mean, just absolutely incredible. In 2020, Colin Morikawa wins, and it was super tight. He won that by 2 strokes, but he really blew it open when he hit a driver to like 3 feet on a par 4 to make an eagle and then kind of pull that one out. So all this conversation, the PGA is far and away the most entertaining major the last 5 years. And just going, I'm not digging this deep. Going back to 2010, you could damn near, I'm guessing, say it's been one of the most entertaining majors of them all back to 2010. I mean, if you just look back, 3 strokes, 1 stroke, like these are close events. The PGA puts on a super exciting, fun tournament that determines a good winner. If you look at a lot of the recent guys who have won the PGA championships, there are a lot of big names in here. You have a Jimmy Walker in there. You have a Jason Duffner, Keegan Bradley. But a lot of these other guys are multiple-time major winners. And I don't know. The PGA has just been far and away the best major to watch in the last 5 years. I think that's about it for the golf. So let's move on to the next thing, because that was quite the golf segment for you boys. So on to the next. The Cleveland Guardians, they put out a 5-1 week for us. In a week that they played some solid teams, division rival as well. So get 2 of 3 from the Rangers, grab the first 2 before getting shut out Wednesday. But then a 3-2 win over the Twins on Friday, then a big 11-4 win. It was as much as 8-0 at one point, let up 4 runs, I think, in the last inning, 8th or 9th. I had stopped watching by that point. I had switched to something else. And then yesterday, Sunday afternoon, I got him on the little TV. I look over, Tyler Freeman up to bat. Bottom of the 9th, 2 on. Home run, baby. 3-run walk-off. Gives them the sweep of the Minnesota Twins. The Cleveland Guardians hang on to a 1.5-game lead in the Central Division over the Kansas City Royals. Now 6-4 in our last 10, so had kind of weathered kind of a rough storm here. And really bounce back and put up a good thing. So I think they're just the 4th team to 30 wins. Yeah, just the 4th team to 30 wins so far in Major League Baseball. Beat there by the Dodgers, the Phillies, who are just playing some great ball, and then the New York Yankees. So, some good things. Continue to score runs. Like if you just look at the games this week, 7 runs on Monday. 7 runs on Tuesday. Obviously, get blanked on Wednesday. 3 runs on Friday. 11 on Saturday. 5 on Sunday. That's good. That is really good. Josh Naylor is 4th in the AL in home runs. Jose Ramirez is leading the American Leagues in RBIs. Only Alec Baum of the Philadelphia Phillies has more. Clase tied for the lead in saves. As a team, 5th in runs scored. 9th in home runs. Which, if you go back to last year, is fucking an unbelievable turnaround. just in the bottom of the league last year. Now they're in the top 10 in home runs as a team. And the pitching has been there. 6th in ERA overall in the entire major league. This is a team that's maximizing what they've got. They've been fun to watch this year. Kyle Manzardo got an RBI this week, I believe, for his first RBI of his career. So maybe you can get some good things out of him. That'd be really awesome. So there's a week coming up here where we can continue this. We can continue this thing. Hosting the New York Mets to start the week. They got a game here that'll be starting in just a minute here as I'm recording. Host the Mets for 3 games, 2 late games, and then a little afternoon shindig on Wednesday before they travel out to California to face the Angels in a 3-game set. Probably won't see as much as those games as their starting time is going to be, sneaking up to my bedtime. But the Mets are a sub 500 team. They're in the middle of the pack in the NL East. They've been on a little bit of a slide lately, 3-7 in their last 10. And then the Angels are terrible. They're 18-29. They're dead last in the AL West. A full 7 games back of the Seattle Mariners. 4-6 in their last 10. They've been actually much better on the road. Only 6-16 at home. So got to keep this up if you're Cleveland. Got to keep adding games to that lead. Who did the Royals play? Let's see if we can see what the Royals got this week as we're starting to look. The Royals will play the Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tigers floundering around at 500. They're kind of in a make or break spot here already, I would have to think. I know it's just May, but you don't want to get down too far. The Rays slightly above 500 here. 6-4 in their last 10, so trending in the right direction, you may say. I don't know what they've done just recently. Just took 2 or 3 from the Blue Jays and took 3 of 4 from the old Red Sox. So hopefully those guys give the Royals all their money's worth and then some, and we can keep expanding this lead in the Central. But yeah, big wins, big sweep against the Twins. The Twins could have really closed it in. They would have only been 2.5 games back when the series started, and now they're pushed out to 5.5 back. So got to keep it rolling for the Guards. A lot of good things happening. Hopefully the good things keep rolling, as do the good times. There's only one fight to talk about. Xander Usyk. What a fight. What a win for Mr. Xander Usyk. He wins a split decision over Tyson Fury to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. He wins by 115-112 on one card, 114-113 on another card. Coincidentally, that was what I scored the fight. And then 113-114 with one person scoring it for Tyson Fury. I had it 114-113. I gave both of the toss-up rounds to Tyson Fury. I thought there was a pretty clear path on how this fight should be scored. I had it. I gave the first 2 rounds to Xander Usyk. I gave the next 4 undoubtedly to Tyson Fury. So that would be the 6 up to 6. The 7th I thought was a toss-up round. I gave it to Tyson Fury. It could have gone to Usyk. I felt like because I knew I was rooting for Xander Usyk, and I'm not really the biggest fan of Tyson Fury, I was like, I'm just going to give that to Tyson Fury to kind of fight any bias I may have. I thought the next 3 rounds were very, very easily Xander Usyk rounds, and obviously the 9th round. Again, the 11th round I had a toss-up. I gave it to Usyk. I think on most of the cards that went... I'm sorry, I gave it to Fury. I think on the 115-112 card that went to Usyk, and on the 114-113 card. Oddly enough, everybody gave Fury the last round. I gave the last round to Xander Usyk. A couple of people gave Fury the second round. I did not see Fury winning the second round. The 115-112 card actually gave Fury the second round. Either way, I think the right guy won. Early in the fight, I was like, oh man, Usyk is doing what I thought was possible. He was going to be quicker. He was going to be smoother. He was going to be in. He was going to be out. And then 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, it felt like the size of Fury was taking over, and that he was going to outlast another one. He was going to kind of touch him up with the jab, and he was looking for that uppercut. He really was. It felt like the size just couldn't be overcome, that Usyk couldn't get in and hit him with anything with enough punch, forgive the pun there, with enough on a punch to really affect him. And then the 9th round happened. And I saw Tyson Fury get beat up in the way I've not ever seen Tyson Fury get beat up. In his fights with Deontay Wilder, he's gotten knocked down on one punch, just big ones that rattle him, and he gets back up. And, even in that last round of the original Deontay Wilder fight, some say he wins the rest of the round. In the 3rd fight, he gets knocked down a couple times, but just comes back and absolutely bludgeons the shit out of Deontay Wilder. Did not look like that in the 9th round. And I thought Usyk let him off the hook a little bit in the 10th, but one of the announcers said, hey, in the Anthony Joshua fight, he got really hit with a big punch and then answered back with a huge 9th round. Can he do it again? And he did just that. He had landed an overhand left in the early rounds, like the 1 through 3. And he finally found that and lined it up and wobbled Fury back into the ropes and stayed on him and was just hammering him. And Fury he was out on his feet. He just wasn't there. Usyk was staying all over him, was really taking it to him. And I think Fury got a little lucky. I don't think this was the wrong call. I don't think it was a crooked ref or anything like that. It was just a little early than I think, and not even that much early. If the ropes keep you up, it's a knockdown. The ropes were keeping Tyson Fury up. The ref jumped in. I've seen that exact thing happen where the ref gives it another 1 or 2 seconds, and the person putting the onslaught on absolutely fucking levels them and sends them night-night for real. And they don't get the standing 8 count, essentially. But the ref did the right thing. It was just, if it was a second or 2 later, I think there's another big punch or 2 that knocks Tyson Fury fully down that I don't know if he's getting back up from. You say that, and Tyson Fury has gotten back up from everything. But what a fucking performance by Alexander Usyk. This dude goes everywhere. He's fought in everybody else's country to unify titles, to win titles. He completely unified the cruiserweight division and then went up to heavyweight. Tyson Fury has been calling him the middleweight. This fight was struggling to get made, I think, because Fury was kind of ducking Usyk a little bit. He said he doesn't fight smaller guys well. Usyk is as good of a smaller guy. I mean, he's fucking 6'3", 230. But yeah, just an absolutely incredible performance. I wasn't even getting the fight. I was on the fence about getting it. Then Big E Sexton sent a text, asked if I was watching. I was like, I am now. So I got it. I'm very, very happy. I just wrote this down when I was watching the fight. When the water got deep, Usyk swam and Fury sunk. That was just all it was. The saying is always, you take them to deep water and you find out what they're made of. And Usyk is just an absolute warrior. And as I was watching, and this fight's was in Saudi Arabia, which also was awesome because the fight started at 5:30 my time. More of that, please. All of the fights over in that time zone, please. But it is funny how the Saudi influence in golf has been so disruptive to the sport. And, some of that can probably be held to the fact that had the PGA Tour just had the meeting with the Saudi guys, that they could have avoided all the shit that we've been going through. But they didn't, and now there's this huge dividing force that is led by the Saudi money. In boxing, it's giving us all the fights we want. It got Usyk Fury made, which was a fight that fight would never have been made without the Saudi money. The Saudi prince Turki Al-Sheikh, I think maybe is his name, is basically just picking the fights he wants to see and being like, I will pony up for him. The Better BF Bivol fight that I think is going in September now, that's a fight that wasn't going to get made. There's not enough interest in it, and now you're getting another incredible fight because of it. So it's just very interesting the different ways the Saudi money has gone into 2 different sports that I followed, 2 kind of niche sports, and the different ways it's kind of playing out. One I think is very good. One I think it's been not so good. So yeah, that's it for the fight game. I don't even know what's going on. Let me see if there's anything UFC coming up soon. I don't even know if there's any good boxing. UFC 302 is in June, Poirier Islam. So we got another week. That will not be this weekend. That'll be next weekend. I watch that. Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa, Kevin Holland on the undercard. Yeah, I could see myself being involved in that one. All right, on to the next. For another OWH albums, this time we go to the Goo Goo Dolls with Dizzy Up the Girl. This is their 6th studio album that they released. They're kind of, an interesting band in the fact that in their early years, their first couple of CDs, titled Goo Goo Dolls, then Jed, Hold Me Up, and Superstar Car Wash. Their main singer was Robbie Takak. I don't even know how to say it. I should probably know how to say it. One of my favorite bands, who was really kind of, one of the lead vocals up until, that A Boy Named Goose CD with Name on it. And in a sense, Johnny Resnick is now really the lead singer, and Robbie gets a couple of songs every CD, and this CD kind of follows that formula. Sorry. And again, this is another one where there's just not many skips. And that's obviously a theme of this whole thing in my favorite albums. But this CD probably most famous for Iris, which was on the City of Angels soundtrack, I think released earlier that year. Let me see if I can do a little quick research. I forgot to check that one. Yeah, Iris was released as a single in April of 1998. The album did not come out until September of that same year. So it had really, already been out in the atmosphere and really kind of pushed them too. So when this came out, it probably made a pretty easy sell. There are also so many other good songs on the CD. You start right off with Dizzy, which I think is one of their best songs. Super underrated. Slide, one of the great early guitar riffs of a start. I don't do anything at all, so why don't you slide? My favorite two songs off this CD are Broadway and Black Balloon. And I have a hard time choosing which one's my favorite, so I always kind of say two. If there's any skips as we're just kind of running down through here, it's probably some of the Robbie Takak songs. January Friend's not one of them. I really like that one. If you're skipping any, it's maybe Am I Gone and Extra Pale, but even those are good. So, the rest of the Johnny Resnick songs, you have Dizzy, Slide, Broadway, Black Balloon. You're not skipping any of those. Those are like the hits. Some of the deep cuts, Bulletproof, All Eyes on Me, which is an absolute classic. Acoustic Number 3 and Hate This Place are all fantastic songs too. So again, it's just another one. It's a CD that you just put on, you play. There might be one or two you kind of switch around, but these guys are good in concert to this day. I saw them just last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now. But just fantastic. This was a CD that was out in the world. I think I have it at this point now, but it was something you heard so many of these songs. Slide, Broadway, Black Balloon, Iris. They're on the radio so much. You heard 40% of the CD without ever having to have it, just on the radio or everything. And they're just great songs. I love the Goo Goo Dolls. My first two favorite bands were Third Eye Blind and the Goo Goo Dolls. The first three Third Eye Blind albums are incredible. The Goo Goo Dolls, they've kept putting stuff out. Their later stuff has some stuff in there here and there, but the Goo Goo Dolls really just killed it from 1995 to 2006. Just put out 4 great albums. We might do three of the 4. We might do as well as Dizzy Up the Girl, Gutter Flower, and Let Love In, but really fantastic. When I saw them in concert, what I really liked about them is they started off with the hits. They snuck in a couple of their new songs, mixed a hit in here or there, and then they finished with the hits too. They knew they weren't, they weren't trying to big pants me oh, we're not playing the old stuff, only the new stuff tonight. Shut the fuck up. I'm here. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate just kind of how they have acted as a band. You know, they just keep doing their thing. They keep playing the hits, and the CD is full of hits. So next week we're doing Linkin Park. I'm so torn, but I think I have to go with the original. I think I'm going Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory next week on the next iteration of OWH albums. Time for some passing thoughts. All right, had some travel this week. We're gonna finish with how the travel, all finished up and how it all played out. But I started the travel week off by seeing a dude wearing an Indict This shirt that had a picture of the United States with all the counties, color coded by who they voted for in the last election, and a Trump hat, walking around Chicago airport. I mean, man, there's places I would wear Trump stuff, both, funnily, and I think, I'm probably voting for him again, but like, there's places I'm just sure as fuck not. Like, most of the time, if you want to talk politics with me, I'll talk politics with you, but like, I'm not just putting it out on fucking display. Like, I'm not just going to be like, hey, look at me, motherfuckers. Especially not with Trump, man. I just don't want the battle. Like, the people that do that, God bless them. These guys got some fucking nuts on them. Jesus. So on my flight, I watched the movie Iron Claw. Oh man. That's a tough one. Like, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's sad. Tells the story of the Von Erich family. Just tragedy abounds. It's a very good movie. It's well acted. Zac Efron does a nice job. I think Jeremy Allen White, it plays one of the brothers. He's the guy from Chef or whatever. I think that's his name. He was really good. All the people in it were very good. Yeah, Jeremy Allen White was the Bear. The Bear, that's the show I'm thinking of. He was also in Shameless. He was Philip Lip Gallagher in Shameless as well. But yeah, the Iron Claw, just fantastic. All the sons were good. Who played the dad? Holt McCallany. He was really great as the dad. Just super sad, but really good. Like, you should see it if you're a wrestling fan at all and you haven't seen it. You should see it. It's been out for a while, obviously, but so good, so good. Written and directed by Sean Durkin. What else has he done? There you go. He's Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, The Nest. Oh, those sound upbeat. And then he's done some short films too. So very good. The only thing that was not good was the actor who played Ric Flair was just not right for Ric Flair. Very bad. Very, very, very bad. What else? Oh, I got an electric car as a rental car. Thank God that I had someone else traveling with me, because I had a trip way longer than that electric car could have handled. Probably my biggest critique of rental cars is that it only had a 260-mile radius, and where I was going, there were no fucking chargers in sight. Like, small town America, fucking the chargers ain't there. Well, I'm just supposed to stop for an hour? Like, and be like, can't drive anywhere, gotta just park here for an hour? Like, fuck that. Give me some good old gasoline. I forgot to turn it off. Every time I got out of the car, and it just start beeping. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to turn it off again. I turned it on. I was like, I hope it might be running. If I push the gas, am I going to go? Turns out you what? It was pretty nice. Like, if all you had to do was just drive around town and like you didn't have to drive very far and you didn't care, like, it's fine. It'd work. I saw one of those He Gets Us commercials. Maybe the people funding the He Gets Us commercials should spend a little less money on fucking TV commercials and actually just spend some money helping people out. It would work out better and like go better for you. Little NFL news here. Harrison Butker made a name for himself recently. Not going to dive into that. I just want the people that had the big reaction with Harrison Butker, just keep that same energy when you're talking about Diddy, or when you're talking about the NFL players who beat their wives, or the NFL players who are, being charged with rape or shit like that. Just when you're bitching and you're throwing a fucking hissy fit, just keep the same energy when you talk about a Henry Ruggs driving the car 150 miles an hour. Or, again, someone who beats their wives or their children, rather than talking about Harrison Butker. So just just keep that in fucking mind. Also in the NFL has added yet another streaming service where you'll have to watch games. They will be on Netflix for Christmas Day. I think I heard somewhere $75 million a game is what they were paid for those. So $150 million for the day for NFL games on Netflix. I have been lucky so far for the NFL. I have Amazon Prime. I have Peacock. The roommate loves a bunch of shows on Peacock, and we have Netflix. So it has not changed my viewing experience yet. I do see people like adding up the total tally on how to watch it. And again, I don't want this to keep happening because there's also this thing that came out that where is it here? I took a picture of this stupid shit. That Netflix, Apple TV, and Peacock will team up to form their own streaming bundle through Comcast. Will be offered at a vastly reduced price. I said this a long time ago. We're going to all move to streaming. They're going to bundle it all up. And then it's just going to be like cable bundles before that don't perform as well and that you have buffer time on. We're getting there. It's going to happen. And like, I'm a cord cutter. I've gone to YouTube TV because it's half the price as DirecTV. And it fucking doesn't ever, stop working because it's raining out. But I have seen people that are like, oh yeah, to watch all the games, you have to pay for Netflix, for Peacock, for Amazon Prime. It's like, okay, Amazon Prime is the only one you have to carry. But like so many people have Amazon Prime Video through just having Amazon Prime. There's 1 or 2 games a year on Peacock. So just say there's 2. You have to have it for 2 months, not for all fucking 12 years. Like they're like adding in like 120 for this, 120 for that. It sucks. But like, let's not lie about it. Okay. One other flight thing here. I'm coming around on not reclining my seat at all during flights because when people recline into me, I'm like, what the fuck? Especially now that all the TVs are on there. It's like if you're watching TV and they recline, like the angle you're watching like changes. You're like, oh fuck, and now you're like leaning in the seat, and it's just not right. It's just not right. Oh, I was let down by my DoubleTree when I was on the road up in Vermont. I get there. I had a flight that came in at night. So I'm just ready to get in, go to bed. Fucking electronic key doesn't work. I have to walk back down. I know. I had to walk over to the fucking elevator and walk back down and walk the 8 feet back to the front desk. Really hassled me, man. Really hassled me. Had to get a regular key. What the fuck? I want to walk in. I want it on my app. So then the next day, and when I checked in, I was like, hey, can I just get a couple waters? Like, the waters are in your room. I was like, oh, okay. So then the next day, I'm get back to my room. The housekeeping hadn't come. I got back at like 3 o'clock. So I was like, well, shit. Next thing you know, I was going to go work out, so I'm changing, and like housekeeping's knocking on the door. But like I had a couple more things. I was changing, then I was going to do a couple more things with work, then I was going to go work out and go eat some dinner. Housekeeping comes at like 3:30. I'm like, I'm in here. Just go away. So now there was only 1 towel in the room. So now I got to steal some towels from the pool. And then because I hadn't, refilled my water, I like asked for a couple waters. They're like, you'd have to pay for them. Like there were no waters in my room because housekeeping didn't come and replace them. They didn't replace them, I tell you. They charged me for water. What the fuck, DoubleTree? Get it together. However, where my travel stories really begin is, so I fly out of Burlington, Vermont at 5:30 in the morning on Wednesday this past week. Wednesday. Oh man, it gets really bad really fast, and I'm having PTSD already. So I get up at 3, I get to the airport, take off on time. We're flying into Charlotte, and I can just tell, like the plane's not like we're slowed down, but we're like circling, we're not landing. Then sure shit, the announcer, the announcer. The pilot comes over and says, hey, we have to go land at a different airport because we can't land in Charlotte because of heavy fog. So as soon as we land, I'm like, oh shit, I only have like an hour and a half layover. I'm looking up the other flight that I'm supposed to get on to come home. That's coming in from another airport. I'm like, well, if we can't land, they shouldn't be able to land. So that flight should get delayed in when it takes off. So then I'll still make this flight and still get home at, a relatively reasonable hour. I'm supposed to be home at like 10:30. And I was like, man, I can be back to my house at like 11:30. So that was out the window. But hey, I'll get back today. Maybe the sun should still be shining when I get home. Well, somehow the flight coming in that was the plane to take me home that was supposed to land 5 minutes after us was able to land without a sweat and then take off on time. So it took off half an hour before I even got to Charlotte. So then the next flight that I have that gets me home is fucking 7 hours later at like 3:30. And then as I'm kind of just wandering around the airport, I've got like 7 hours to kill. I keep noticing gate switch, gate switch, gate switch. Then there's delays. Then I'm standing at a gate and there's 2 flights set to leave at the same. Well, sorry. One was set to leave at 5:20. One was set to leave at 5:21. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. I know how this goes. This is delay, 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 delay. Cancel. Like that's what's going to happen. So then we flip over to another gate, which is in another fucking wing of the Charlotte airport, which has got fucking so much space in between the gates or the terminals, whatever you want to call it. C to B is not a quick little jaunt. We get there and there's 2 flights scheduled to go out of that one a minute apart. And then we have to switch over to another one where there's another 2 flights to go. And so then, like I said, that flight just gets delayed till it gets canceled. I think there's like a thunderstorm rolling through where I don't know that a flight took off from Charlotte from like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to like 6:30 at night. Not to mention, like everybody, absolutely everybody in this airport is delayed or canceled in some way. So like when my flight gets canceled, I sprint across the airport. Oh, not sprint. My knee is still banged up. But I'm moving as fast as I possibly can across the airport to get to a different customer service because the one near me is like 350 people long. I took a video on my phone. It's 30 seconds long of just me walking down this aisle. And it's just people the entire time. So I get over there. I get it on a flight. First of all, I'm in the line. Thank God some lady just came around. She's like, here, call this number. I actually got through the number. Their first option for me, granted, this is Wednesday. This is Wednesday now. Wednesday afternoon this is probably 6 o'clock now. Probably 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And they're like, we can get you home on Friday at 10:30 would be the flight to leave Chicago. I was like, Friday in 2 days? Like, you want me to leave here Friday, 2 days from now? Like, have you looked at a calendar? I'm like, that ain't fucking working. So I was like, well, fuck it. Get me a rental car at that point. Like, well, we can't. All the rental cars are gone. I'm like, you're going to have to do better. Like, if you can't get me home, you got to do better. So finally, I get on a flight that's supposed to leave at, like, I think 10:15. Gets me to Chicago. I can at least get to Chicago, and then I was like, oh, I'll just get a car from there. No cars. It's going to be the whole. So I get on this flight, but at least I'm getting to Chicago. I'm getting close. I'm like, push comes to shove, I'll just get an airport or get a hotel at the airport. So, finally start to see some action on the tarmac. Sometime around, this was at 7:11, that my flight doesn't have a crew. They don't know who it should be. They don't know where they are, and they don't know where they've been. And we've been delayed for 4 hours already, and they just couldn't have been tracking them down. That's my tweet. That wasn't even for the Chicago flight. That was for the first Madison flight. Oh man. So now we do the whole thing. And the Charlotte airport is getting restless. Like everybody's in a bad mood. But then there's like people who've like crossed over from bad mood to like, we're just all in this together. So I finally, when I realize I'm going to Chicago and I'm not getting home, I'm not going to have to drive. I'm like, I'm going to have a couple beers. I run in this absolute degenerate gambler kid. First thing he says, he's like, can we flip on the Mavs game? I got 350 on the Mavs money line. Then he's like talking to me. He's like, oh, I'm going to Puerto Rico for my buddy's wedding. And just absolutely incredible. So we also run into this group of like 5 or 6 Puerto Rican folks who are heading home. They had been up in Nashville for a work conference. They're heading home. And, next thing you know, degenerate gambler's talking to them, and he knows like some very basic Spanish, so he's like having a good time. I'm just kind of wrapped up in the middle of it. Next thing you know, the degenerate gambler kid is buying shots, but the Puerto Rican guy's coming over. He's like, no, the shots are on me, and we're just having a blast. They shut that down at like 11 o'clock. We can't find another crew for my next plane. We're just getting delayed again. And then some manager guy comes over at like 12:30, and he's like, hey, we've called in a local crew to come man the plane. You guys already have a pilot, but they have to get here quick because the pilots are going to run out of time and time out and haven't been to sleep soon enough. So now we're on a mad dash. We finally get on the plane. The pilots are like, we got an extra 30 minutes added to our time. I finally make it to a hotel at the Chicago airport at 3:30 in the morning. I get picked up the next morning by my brother, and I finally make it home at like 12:30 in the afternoon for an absolute shit show of the day. And that's all I've got for passing thoughts. Let's go close the show up. Closing time, everybody. Just as always, just want to say thank you to everybody. Appreciate the watches, appreciate the listens, appreciate the support. So thank you. We're going to be back next week. We're doing Linkin Park for OWH albums. There's going to be more golf. There's going to be more guards. NHL and NBA are into their conference finals. I'll probably start watching a little more. I have caught a little bit here and there, but nothing to talk about. So once again, thank you all. There'll be more next week. Till then, peace.